Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of April 23rd, 2026, including Game Pass is going down in price at the cost of Call of Duty. Metro 2039 looks to be a welcome return to form. Pragmata is a really refreshing and great new IP from Capcom, all that and more. On this day in Xbox history, in the year 2002, 24 years ago, FIFA World Cup 2022 was released for the original Xbox. Not that anyone gives a shit about 2002 FIFA World Cup, but actually, I take that back. There are some Europeans out there listening. Maybe some of you are, I don't know, in your late 20s or 30s or something. And you're like, I'm so nostalgic for 2002 FIFA World Cup. And I'm over here just like, why don't you go kick a ball around the grass, you poor fucking little losers? We play overpriced sports in this country. America goes above and beyond to make sure sports cost as much as they can possibly cost. You guys run around and you kick a ball in the grass and you have fun, you call it a day, but the Americans say, no, we can do you one better. So a long ass time ago, they're like, what if in order to play with the ball, we made the ball really hard and you have to have a glove to catch it because it's a really hard ball that will hurt to catch otherwise, and you have to get a bat to hit it because it's too small to kick it with your leg like a soccer ball, and thus baseball was invented. And everyone had to have a bat and a glove to play this sport because America's awesome and we are the country that has all the resources, so we could afford to give every little child a bat and a glove. Then years later, we said, hey, baseball is great because it's so much more expensive and luxurious than soccer, what the Europeans play, PU. And then they said, well, we can do one better. What if we make our most popular sport even more expensive? And then they created football. And what they did was they took the ball and they said, it's not enough for the ball to be round because then someone might accidentally use like a basketball or a soccer ball interchangeably. Let's instead take the ball and make it a unique shape so that if anyone brings a ball to football and it's not our proprietary ball, they're using the wrong ball. So you force them to buy a different ball in case they already have one from a prior sport. And then on top of that, you say, we'll make this sport so goddamn dangerous that you have to have a helmet and knee pads and shoulder pads and elbow pads and all this special gear to play it. And if you don't have it, you will die. So you have to have it. And they came up with the most expensive sport ever because you have to buy a special ball and a helmet and all the types of paddings. Plus you have to basically have an annual subscription to a chiropractor, and it's awesome. It's called football, and it replaced baseball because it's just so much more expensive, and we wanted to distance ourselves even further from the stinky, poor Europeans who were just kicking a little ball around the grass, calling it football. Ha ha ha, PU, they're French. So that is how the United States created sports. And, well, I'm sorry, guys. It's not a history podcast. It's an Xbox podcast. Welcome to episode 360 of the Xbox On podcast. Man, this was supposed to be a very different episode. Let me just say, it's the 1-2 combination of there was a lot of, not a lot of, but there was very noteworthy news that I couldn't put off. So we had to do a traditional episode for that reason. And I had some work stuff come up today that made me come home from work like 2 hours later than I normally do. So I am on a very, very limited time schedule here, a very limited amount of free time to do this podcast. So originally I wanted to celebrate 360 episodes of Xbox On by doing and I've been playing this for months. I was going to do a throwback episode. What I was going to basically do is gaslight the fuck out of the audience. You're going to click on the latest episode and it was just going to start out and the whole episode would be in character. I would just I would just pretend it's 2008 and we would just talk about news stories that happened around this time in 2008, and we do the what I've been playing, and I would talk about Xbox 360 games, and all the references and everything would be to 15 years ago, and there would be nothing said on the show to suggest that it's any time period past the mid 2000s. And it was going to be a fun throwback. I was going to be like, hey guys, I'm playing Halo 3, still loving it. I was going to be all like, hey guys, in the news, did you hear that they're making a Bulletstorm game or something? I don't know. It was going to be fun, but then life had other plans, and Asha Sharma had to make some big Game Pass news. So instead, we're just doing a regular ass episode, and I apologize. No fun idea executed on, but whatever. Here's the Xbox On podcast. Take it or leave it. Fuck you. All right. Objects in Space writes in and says, "Hey Jesse, I just want to say congratulations on the 360th episode. I've been listening to your rants and eating habits since about episode 50. Thank you for years of entertainment." Well, thank you, Mr. Objects in Space. It's been great having you guys here along for the ride. And as I always say with these kinds of like milestone episodes, not to get too mushy or sentimental, but yeah, I mean, this podcast is purely just a passion project, and I would 100% not do it if there weren't people like you on the other end of the other side of this, who not only listen but also comment in and let me know, hey, I'm a human being that listens to your stupid podcast. So it means a lot to me, because this is not a podcast that's like big enough that like I got advertisers knocking on my door. It's not a podcast that generates any revenue or anything or has any bearing on my job or my career. It's just a random side project hobby I do as an outlet to express my interest and enthusiasm for video games and the gaming industry as it pertains to my favorite brand of gaming. And it's just a way to interact with other like-minded folks who just want to be stupid and talk about Xbox, because maybe sometimes after a long week of work, you just need a little Xbox chat to kind of keep you sane, keep you on the straight and narrow. So I appreciate you, Objects in Space, and I appreciate all of you guys. Whether it's your first episode, your last episode, or you listen to every other episode and you plan on listening to next week and the week after that and beyond, I just want to say I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for helping this show get to 360 episodes. It's been a lot of fun. Overall, it's been a lot of fun creating this, and I feel really proud that I can't believe it's been almost 7 years. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys. It's been fun, and it's been a cool challenge, and I'm proud of, the dedication I put to this show. It's something, I don't know. I guess it's just a cool thing for me to be able to say, hey, I did it. Decoy Doctopus writes in and says, "Confirmed. Jesse to shut down Xbox On after episode 360. Quote, I was only in it to hit that milestone anyway," he said. I probably did say that last week, but I don't remember saying that. But that's not to say that I didn't say it. I probably did. I just never remember half the shit I say. So Decoy Doctopus, fuck you for spreading fake news. This podcast is not going away. We got to make it to episode 720. Remember? We talked about this. All right. Thank you, sir. I don't know. What am I doing? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's talk about the show. So welcome to the Xbox On podcast. Let's see. Oh, I originally wrote, make this joke when you read Decoy Doctopus's comment about retiring the show. You can tell people that you're now old enough to collect Xbox Social Security. That's not even like 4% clever or funny. There are sometimes I'll write a note to myself for the show where I'm like, oh, make sure you mention this point, or make sure you say this stupid joke that you thought was funny when you were writing the show. And half the time I just, I don't address it. But usually I'll just like either go with it because I wrote it down, or I'll be like, I don't think that's funny or interesting anymore. I'm going to skip it and move on. But I had to read this because that's such a stupid fucking comment that I wrote to myself, like in a fucking sleep deprived adult state of mind at 11 p.m. last night. I am old enough. The show is now old enough for me to collect Xbox Social Security. So I'm ending the show at 360 episodes. Oh my God. I love it. It makes no fucking sense. All right. Well, there you go. There's 360 episodes of this fucking train wreck. Let's move on and start out with our usual opening segment, our notable game releases of the week. There are 2 games here definitely worth paying attention to and making note of. I think the first one worth mentioning is the Xbox first-party game that comes out this week, which is Kiln. It is a new, smaller project from Double Fine, the guys behind Psychonauts and Brutal Legend, and more recently Keeper. And these guys, Tim Schafer, of course, legendary game developer. These guys are highly respected, a highly coveted, highly respected team of game developers in the industry. While they don't always have the biggest commercial successes, they are one of those teams that is just super highly admired and looked up to by a lot of others in the industry. And this game serves as yet another, I guess, notch in their belt of weird, quirky, smaller, no chance of like mainstream commercial success kind of cute experimental ideas. Where I mean, we saw this game at the developer direct. It was surprise announced back in January. This is just a wacky, what do they call it? A pottery party game brawler. I mean, it is a game where you make your own character out of clay. You make some type of pot, and then you join fights and you brawl and you play with your buddies and you fucking fight around as anthropomorphic, cartoony pots, creations of pottery. This is a wacky game. I don't know really what to say about this game other than I know not to doubt Double Fine, and I will be giving this game a try. Now, it comes out as of the day this podcast goes live, April 23rd, and of course, it's a day one Game Pass game, being a first-party game. But I will, well, hang on. Not of course. We'll get to that later. But anyway, I don't know. I want to play this game, but it's such a busy April. I'm not used to April being a particularly crazy month, but damn, this is a crazy April. I'm in the middle of 2 games right now, and that just came out, and I don't have time for Kiln, but I will come back to this in the next couple of weeks. I do look forward to giving it a try. I feel like this would be a fun little weekend romp. I think it's like $20 or $25. I'm pretty sure it's like $20, or Game Pass. But yeah, that's the first game here. The second game of note is Vampire Crawlers, which is a follow-up game from the indie team that made Vampire Survivor. Of course, this is that game that actually also launched on Game Pass day one a couple of years ago that took the world by storm. It's that simple 8-bit vampire game where you just move around and your guy auto attacks and you just survive waves of enemies and then you collect power-up abilities. It's that roguelike, just endless vampire combat game thing that's deeply aesthetically inspired by Castlevania while playing like a game that looks like it should be iPhone trash but plays like one of the most addicting, fun, simplistic indie darlings you've ever picked up and admired. Vampire Survivors was a really fun game and has spawned a really big love for similar kind of like roguelike games that are about simplistic pick up and play gameplay loops that keep you completely addicted for hours and hours and hours. I mean, I've been playing Dead Zone Rogue for weeks now, which is a game that has a very similar level of inspiration. It's like, hey, what if we did this, but it's a first-person shooter instead? Fucking sick. Vampire Crawlers is not that, though. Vampire Crawlers is more like a dungeon crawler, first-person deck-building card battle game, and it looks like it's also simplistic, easy to pick up and play, but a complete departure from and change from what Vampire Survivors was. The game's getting excellent reviews. People are loving it. There's been a Steam demo out for a while now, and people said that was excellent as well. So I'm sure this is very fun, but it is very different. So if you liked Vampire Survivors, maybe you want to give this a try, but just know it's not necessarily related in terms of the gameplay. But it is, after the success that was Vampire Survivor, I feel like it's one of those like, all right, you have my attention now. Let's see what else you guys can do. So I'm very interested, again, in giving this a try, but I don't know when because it's been a busy-ass April. Another Day 1 Game Pass game, though. So if you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, you can add both of these notable releases to your catalog for as long as you remain subscribed. All right, you guys, let's just hop into the news because I can already feel this is going to be one of those days where I'm running out of steam early because I usually don't start recording this late in the night. And yeah, I got to wake up at 4:30 tomorrow. So let's just hop into it, guys. I want to start off with 2 quicker news stories here. Just kind of announcements. These things are both not super relevant or worth getting into because these will be very relevant come tomorrow. Just announcements about things that are happening this week after the show goes live. So first one here is that Xbox is having a new Idea at Xbox showcase this Thursday, the day this podcast goes live. It will take place at 1 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, April 23rd. They're hosting it like with IGN, which is weird. So that's, it's really odd. So you can watch it on IGN or YouTube or whatever. But they said that they're going to talk about the following 4 games, as well as many other indie games coming to Xbox. They have Aphelion, Mistfall Hunter, Solo Leveling, Arise Overdrive, and There Are No Ghosts at the Grand. I know There Are No Ghosts at the Grand was shown at the Xbox Summer Showcase last year. Some of these other games have been shown at other points in time. And so a lot of Xbox indie games to be seen at this event. I look forward to checking this out. I feel like I'm in more and more of a mood to support and discover new ideas through indie games. So this is the kind of thing I look forward to. Now, one thing I've realized playing more and more PC lately, and I've always kind of inherently known, but I'm just really facing a lot lately, is that when PlayStation or Nintendo or Xbox do these indie developer conferences and they get indie games and they brag about indie games, just know it's either like games that are also available on Steam or games that came to Steam like 1 or 2 years ago. Something I'm learning is just like a lot of like, we're probably just going to see a bunch of games that have been available on Steam for a year now coming to Xbox. But I do look forward to seeing what interesting games there are to be shown. And we will cover this, of course, next week after this event takes place, because this podcast will have been live for a couple hours by the time this event takes place. All right. Another similar thing, same day, 1 hour earlier. So this Thursday, April 23rd at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So 1 hour before Xbox's Indie Direct, Ubisoft will unveil its remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. They're calling it the Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced Stream event. After leaks and rumors for a long ass time, Ubisoft is finally confirming the existence of a Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag remake and saying that they will get into all of that shit and show it off. So again, we will talk about this next week on the podcast after the world has seen it and after this event has passed. So just know I'm aware of both of these things, but the news cycle doesn't always line up with my podcast recording schedule. So be it. Oh well. All right, guys. With that said, we can start to get into the news proper. Kicking off, let's just get into the Game Pass stuff. So this is the big news. Game Pass, after a very short period of rumors and murmurings and Xbox people kind of saying, oh, we're exploring this, we might do that. Xbox just went out and did it. They said, fuck it. Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass are getting price cuts, and Call of Duty is getting pulled from the subscription tiers. So effective immediately, Game Pass Ultimate no longer costs $30 a month. It now costs $23 a month. So, $7 off, $7 less, I should say. PC Game Pass now goes from $16.50 a month in the US to $14. So $2.50 less than it used to be. So let's just read here from VGC. It says, Xbox stated that Call of Duty games will no longer be made available on Game Pass Ultimate or PC Game Pass Day 1, and will instead be added during the holiday season, about a year later. So existing Call of Duty games already on Game Pass will continue to remain on Game Pass. So like Black Ops 6 and 7, Modern Warfare 2 and 3, and I think Modern Warfare 2019 just came. So on and so forth. Xbox, no, we just said that. This marks a surprising policy change for Microsoft, which paid $68.7 billion for Call of Duty parent Activision Blizzard in 2023 and fought a years-long battle against regulators focused on the future availability of that franchise. The price cut comes shortly after Microsoft's newly appointed head of gaming, Asha Sharma, told employees that Game Pass had become too expensive for consumers. Just 6 months ago, Microsoft increased the price of Game Pass by 50% to $30 a month, and this cut doesn't represent a full reversal of that rise, but it is quite a substantial drop. Commenting on the news, because it went from $20 to $30, so it's not a full reversion back to that price, but it's close. I mean, $23 a month, not bad. Not a bad deal to get that money back, or to go back to that price point in some way. Anyway, commenting on the news, Sharma wrote, Game Pass Ultimate has become too expensive for too many players. We'll keep learning and evolving Game Pass to better match what matters to players. And according to a Bloomberg report last year, Game Pass prices were partly influenced by the lost premium sales of Call of Duty games, reporting that it's seemingly corroborated by the news that launched and will no longer appear, that the games will no longer appear day one in Game Pass, Call of Duty, that is. According to Bloomberg sources, Xbox gave up more than $300 million in sales of Call of Duty on console and PC last year due to Game Pass engagement. Commenting on Tuesday's price cuts, the game business editor Christopher Dring said that the decision was likely also influenced by struggling subscriber growth ahead of the release of Forza Horizon 6, which is launching in May next month. Microsoft hasn't released Game Pass subscriber numbers since 2024, in which they said that there were about 34 million users. The racing title from the UK studio Playground Games is currently the third most wishlist game on Steam at nearly 2.7 million wishlists, which looks so it looks to be a key title. But, quote, as said last week, Game Pass is struggling for growth and it isn't delivering on the initial dream Xbox or Microsoft had back in 2018 when they started putting brand new titles into the service. The price drop is unlikely to solve, and I fully expect bigger changes and perhaps more flexible services to follow. 2024's Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was the first launch date title of Call of Duty for Game Pass. Although early results were positive, the Microsoft declaring that it was the biggest COD launch ever in terms of player count, the game saw the sharpest post-launch decline than usual. Game Pass appeared to impact premium sales of the last year's game, Black Ops 7, more significantly, with launch sales down more than 60% in some markets. In the US, Black Ops 7 was the fifth best-selling game of the year, the lowest a Call of Duty game has placed in nearly 20 years. Game Pass Essential and Premium tiers will remain at their their $10 and $15 prices respectively. The Essential tier offers more than 50 games as well as online multiplayer and cloud streaming, but at a lower bitrate. Premium offers more than 200 games, with new first-party games joining within 12 months of launch. Cloud streaming has a shorter wait time too. Yeah, okay. So Cronky writes in and says, I love that the new price cuts imply that we were paying $7 a month for Call of Duty. Rip off. COD sucks, losers. Get wrecked. I mean, I guess you can read it that way. Technically, sure. I think, man, I feel like there's so much to say, but at the same time, like, not a whole lot to say. Here's the thing. They talk about how... So yeah, they talk about like these Bloomberg reports and stuff where they're referencing like the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and it's funny how they're like, oh well, Microsoft fought a years-long battle to try and get Activision Blizzard King so they could get Call of Duty into Game Pass, and then they talk about how like the Bloomberg report says that last year they gave up more than $300 million in sales on Call of Duty for PC and Xbox last year due to Game Pass and all these things. It's like, I mean that was always the understanding, is that you would forego game sales in order to put these games on Game Pass. And yeah, the hope was that you'll grow Game Pass. Here's the problem is, you take a game like Call of Duty that is a massive fucking hit every year sales wise, you put it into Game Pass, and then seemingly you don't get a whole shit ton of new subscribers that stick around and play Game Pass going forward as their primary, way of buying and engaging with games. You got a problem, because now you're just cannibalizing sales of the most popular game out there on the market year after year, and you're not growing your subscription service. So what it really comes down to is the fact that I feel like this is the thing that they're not straight up saying, but what it really means is that the Call of Duty on Game Pass experiment failed. Like, let's be honest about that. Like, obviously, when you put Halo Infinite on Game Pass day one, you cannibalize the sales of Halo Infinite. When you put Starfield on Game Pass day one, you cannibalize the sales of Starfield. You do this to every one of your games. Every Xbox first-party game sells way worse than it oughta because of Game Pass. But what you're really saying here, there's a capitulation in saying, hey, we can't afford to do this with Call of Duty. It's too much of a cash cow. We can't rock the boat that much. We got to separate this. We're going to decouple this. We're bringing Game Pass down $7 a month. We're taking Call of Duty out of Game Pass as a day one thing. You'll still get these games once they hit a year old. So this fall, Modern Warfare 4 will come out. It will not be in Game Pass. You'll have to spend $70 to get it. And then next year, around November, December, they'll add Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 to Game Pass. And so that's the idea, right? But this is a capitulation that Buying Activision was a fucking waste of everyone's time and money. Consolidating the market further, laying off all these people, making the decisions they made, fighting this battle, putting Xbox in a place where they spent so much of Microsoft's money that they had the spotlight shown on them, and now investors constantly care about how Xbox is doing, putting pressure on them to where Amy Hood is now pressuring Xbox to, oh, you guys need to have more of a profit margin on your games and all these things. Forcing all this pressure that caused people to quit and leave and get fired and get laid off and shifts and structural changes in how the company is operated. This all came at the hands of assuming that if we buy Activision Blizzard, we can take Call of Duty, throw it into Game Pass, and Game Pass subscriber counts will explode. And we will have a way bigger way to compete in the games industry through our subscription service, games, Netflix type service deal we offer. This is, without saying it, this is an admission that they fucking failed. You spent the $68 billion on Activision Blizzard. You spent the money. It's gone. You have Call of Duty. And now you're pulling Call of Duty out of Game Pass because, just like Bobby Kotick said in the FTC files, I don't understand how the economics of this work. And they said, he said, if I were running the company still and all that, and it were my decision, we would never put our games on a service like Game Pass because it doesn't make sense. You can't make money off of it. And so here we are. It's like all these years later, right? Microsoft announces they're buying Call of Duty. What was that? 2021, 22? It was like early in the year 22, I want to say. They announced they're buying Activision Blizzard, right? It takes 2 fucking years of fighting up and down. All we do on this podcast is cover this trial with the FTC and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, they win. They have their fucking way. The biggest corporation's always going to get what they want. They consolidate the market even further. They lay a bunch of fucking people off months later. We still don't have Spider-Man and Transformers games available via backwards compatibility on Xbox. Those games are just lost to time. And all we have to show for it is now when you buy a Call of Duty skin, when you buy Doja Cat in Black Ops 8, that money goes into the pockets of Satya Nadella, who takes fucking government contracts from the U.S. to help develop technology that allows the U.S. to invade countries like Iran illegally, to kill innocent children at school because fucking freedom or whatever the fuck. And that's what happened. That's all we did. Years and years. Consolidating the games industry, decreasing jobs, decreasing competition in the market, right? Sweet capitalism, right? We reduced the competition in the market, the free market. And we said, fuck you to the developers. We said, fuck you to the consumers. And we did all this shit and caused all this grief and ratcheted the price of game studios up and started an arms race and pressured companies like Sony to do stupid things like buy Bungie for $3 billion and then lose out because they're idiots and they bought that company when they shouldn't have. We caused all this shit to happen. Why? So we could put Call of Duty on Game Pass just so we could discover the thing we already knew, which is that if you put Call of Duty on Game Pass, Call of Duty will lose money. I don't understand what the assumption was here. Is that you're going to go from like 35 million Game Pass subscribers to like 75 million or 75, 80 million Game Pass subscribers because you put the most popular game in Game Pass? That's what you thought was going to happen? You didn't change the monetization system within Call of Duty. So what did you think was going to happen? You'd put Call of Duty in Game Pass. Millions upon millions of more people would flock to your service, subscribe to it. And then what? Just start buying battle passes and Nicki Minaj skins left and right out of blind fucking respect for the pure value of Game Pass? Like what did you think was going to happen? That's what I don't understand. And now in hindsight, it makes last year's 50% price increase to make Game Pass Ultimate $30 a month. It feels like a desperate cry for help to say, we fucked up. We're losing money on Call of Duty. Nothing we do increases the subscriber count. At the very least, we can just fucking squeeze these existing subscribers for everything they have. The thing is, they did a reverse Netflix. Netflix got us all addicted to Netflix by having good TV shows and a massive back catalog of TV shows we loved back in like the early 2010s. And all you had to do was pay like fucking $7 a month. And it was like, I can watch King of the Hill and Malcolm in the Middle and Community and Netflix original content all in this one place for $7 a month. And I can stream it on my phone or my computer or my TV or my Xbox or whatever. Sign me up. And then over the years, they kept adding more shows and more content. They're like, oh, you like Stranger Things? Oh, you like Orange is the New Black? And then over time, they're like, we have to raise it to $8. Oh, we have to raise it to $10. Oh, we have to raise it to $11. And it got to the point where it was like, oh, but Netflix is so good. It has so many shows I love that I don't mind another dollar here, another dollar there. Xbox did a reverse Netflix because Netflix is expensive as hell now. But at least they did it only after they captured a massive fuck you number of subscribers who were helplessly addicted to their service. Xbox Game Pass was like, here's Game Pass. Look at all these games. It's like, oh, it's a pretty cool deal for $15 a month. They're like, day one games, baby. Like, holy shit, that's a great deal. And they're like, oh, we got to raise the price a couple bucks. You're like, oh, I get it. Like, but don't worry, we're going to put Call of Duty in here. And you're like, oh shit, that's a good deal. Oh man. And they're like, yeah, baby, $20 a month, Call of Duty, everything first day, Starfield day one, Xbox. You're like, damn, this is pretty good. And then they're like, oh, our subscriber numbers are a little soft. And the people who are there are like, yeah, but it's good service. And they're like, well, fuck you. We're going to raise the price even though our subscriber count isn't where we want it to be. It's like, whoa. You don't have everyone helplessly addicted to Game Pass. You have a small threshold. You played out this experiment where you said, if we did the Netflix model for video games, would people subscribe to it similarly to the way they subscribe to Netflix? And the answer was no, they won't. And after you had years of soft subscriber counts, you just said, okay, we have so many subscribers, let's raise the price on them. It's like, no, you don't, dude. No, you don't. The FTC leaks prove that you guys are way behind your projections. You want to be at 100 million subscribers by now. You're at like 35 million. And they're like, ha, raise the prices. And it's like, no, bitch, it's not. This works. So listen, all right, let's talk about it from a different angle now. Let's try to be a little more optimistic, talk about where we are. I think it is cool that Asha and the new team, the new leadership, look at this and say, hey, something's got to change. We're doing something wrong here, whatever. I think lowering the price of Game Pass is a win. I think taking Call of Duty out of Game Pass is objectively totally fine. I say this as someone who fucking loves Call of Duty and buys Call of Duty every year. I bought Call of Duty Black Ops 7 last year for $70 on my Xbox because I didn't want to stay subscribed to Game Pass. I think a game like Call of Duty is so useless for Game Pass because Call of Duty is one of those games where it's like, yeah, it's $70, but you're going to play it for hundreds of hours. And a lot of the people that buy Call of Duty are people that pretty much only play Call of Duty. So you got this double whammy of like, it's a game people are happy to pay for because they're going to play forever and get so much value out of it. And they don't need a subscription service in order to be tempted to buy the game because they buy it every year anyway. And you're putting it on a service that's basically designed for people who want to constantly be playing different games, the latest and greatest, always something new. But Call of Duty is a game that doesn't want you to go play different games. Call of Duty is a game that says, don't fucking pay attention to that indie darling out right now. Don't go play that new Mass Effect game or that new fucking Assassin's Creed or whatever the hell they make these days. They're saying, just play more Call of Duty. So it's like the wrong game at the wrong price associated with the wrong service for the wrong market. Everything was wrong about it. So I think it's cool that they're rolling it back. I think taking Call of Duty out of here is a loss for very few people. It even seems like the sentiment online is overwhelmingly like, yeah, sure, take Call of Duty out. I don't care. Yeah, make my Game Pass cheaper. Fuck yeah. So I think it's cool. They're clearly listening, and now the word is that they're really deeply exploring this idea of like these custom-made, tailor-made versions of Game Pass where it's like you get to kind of pick and choose like, oh, I want indie games and Fortnite rewards only, or like, oh, I want day one Xbox games and I want indie games, but I don't care about like Fortnite rewards and stuff like that. And like you can kind of pick and choose the benefits and features you want and build your own Game Pass that you get at your own subscription price based on the things you opt in and out of. That's a cool idea. Sounds like that's something they're talking about. I still think that's just, listen, if there's any problem Game Pass has with communication, It's not how overly simplistic of a service it is to understand. It's already kind of cumbersome with the 4 tiers they currently offer, one of which doesn't even apply to Xbox hardware. So like the last thing you need to do to make it even more reasonable for people is be like, oh, well, what are the prices and what are the plans? Well, you make your own plan. Fuck it. It's like, okay, it's a cool idea. Sounds really pro-consumer, but I don't see how that's not going to be a frustrating, confusing mess for a lot of people. So again, it's just like, these are cool ideas, but at what point is Microsoft going to say the thing they need to say? When are we going to admit the thing we need to admit? Game Pass is a failed experiment. Throw in the towel. Let's wrap it up. Let's move the fuck on. Now, I know I'm like kind of the only one it feels like saying that. But I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm tired of talking about it all the time, but I feel like we're at the point where it's like, isn't it a little obvious that Game Pass is never going to be a thing? They tried it. They tried the amazing value. They tried all the mind-blowing games you never thought would be here. It's really impressive, some of the things they were able to pull off in making Game Pass what it was or what it is, and all the various times in which a game has come out or feature has been added, and we've gone, wow, Game Pass is such an amazing service, such an amazing value. There have been many times like that where it's like, don't you think we've done enough to really exhaust this exercise to its fullest potential and realize that maybe you can't just copy paste the Netflix model to gaming and expect it to work? Maybe that's not how people engage in gaming. I've been unsubscribed to Game Pass pretty much since they raised the price of $30. And I will tell you, at $23 a month, I think Game Pass is a very good value. If you think about getting Kiln and Forza Horizon and Halo campaign involved, and Gears of War and Fable and all the indies alongside it that you're going to get this year, Game Pass is instantly, it's an automatic steal. You can just do the math of what those games all cost added together, and you're already, making out like a bandit with Game Pass. Game Pass is an incredible value, and I think at $23 a month, it is a really good value. I think it's super cool. That being said, this does not pull me back to Game Pass Ultimate. I will remain at Game Pass Essential so I can play online and stream things via cloud, but this is not bringing me back, man. I will say, as someone who kind of stepped away from Game Pass Ultimate and now wants to stay away from it, I feel like my relationship to gaming has improved so much over the past 8 months or so, because there's something special about picking and choosing your games a la carte, browsing through a store and saying, I'm going to make the intentional decision to purchase this game, which is a commitment to play it. And there's something that helps you make very purposeful and intentional decisions about which games you will play and won't play. And it allows you to invest and somehow organize your time better to play more games you actually are interested in and actually want to play. Whereas Game Pass is a chaotic experience where you're given way too much access for a very reasonable price. And in exchange, you're just constantly paralyzed with a bounty of choice. And then when you do decide to play a game, it's not as rewarding of a feeling, or at least for myself, I feel like it's not as rewarding of a feeling, because I just feel like it's just another option in this endless sea of content. Whereas when I go out and I purchase a game for $70 and I boot it up and I download it on my console, I go, wow, this is a game I made a decision. I put down my money for this product. I now own the license to it. I'm going to play this game. This is the game I've committed myself to. Generally results in you picking more specific games that you're going to enjoy, and also I just feel like I enjoy these games better when I put my money and my own investment on the line to play these games. Like right now, I'm playing Pragmata. I bought that on Switch 2. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I think I would be enjoying my time less if I was just trying to juggle the last 7 games to come to Game Pass that I feel obligated to play, because these are the games that Xbox is curating for me to play and telling me I need to check out because they're included in the subscription I'm paying a lot of money for. Like, so I don't know, man. To me, Game Pass is over. Like, I think this is great for people who are diehard Game Pass people. I'm happy for you guys that you're getting this reduction in cost. I think Call of Duty never needed to be in Game Pass, and this is totally fine. I think this absolutely just fucking puts a giant ass neon light over Microsoft's head, showing what a fucking loser they are, identifying, hey, this is where the idiot is, because they paid all this money and got themselves into so much of a situation just to find out that owning Call of Duty and putting it in the Game Pass is a bad idea, which, hey, I could have told you that from a fucking mile away and you never even had to spend a penny to learn it. So anyway, hindsight's 2020. I guess this is progress, and I really do appreciate that Asha Sharma's approach is, hey, we're listening, we're going to try to make changes. I really do feel like by the end of the year, the Xbox we're dealing with is going to be very different from the Xbox that we were under when we said goodbye to Phil Spencer a few months ago. And so I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the change because I don't like pretty much anything Xbox is doing other than the games they're putting out, which is the most important thing, to be fair. But man, I mean, I don't know, man. Game Pass, I feel like it's such a fucking cudgel around Xbox's neck. If you got rid of Xbox Game Pass, if you could go back to being a console exclusive, closed ecosystem, it's like, can you imagine how much better it would be as an Xbox fan? Now, I acknowledge that that's not going to win in the war. You know, the Xbox One generation was rough for them, and that was their play, was great games exclusive on our console. But man, I will keep daydreaming until the day Xbox dies that maybe one day we will return to the no Game Pass plus console exclusives setup that we had for a long time back in the Xbox 360 days, as we sit here missing it so on episode 360. All right, speaking of Xbox 360, let's talk about Metro 2039, which is a new game in the Metro series from developer 4A Games, a series that started in the Xbox 360 era. I want to say 2009 or 10. Anyway, developer 4A Games showcased a new sequel, a fourth entry in the Metro series for the first time last Thursday. Sorry, this is from VGC. It says, in a pre-brief attended by VGC, 4A Games said that Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine in 2022 fundamentally changed not only life in the Ukraine-based studio, but also had a major impact on the game itself. They say while much of the team remains in Ukraine, the development team is now spread across 20 different nations. The game story will focus acutely on choices, actions, consequences, and the cost of securing a future. The meaning, quote, the meaning of our games has always been about preventing war, but now war is our reality, and our message has shifted to be about the consequences, he said. That's very interesting. Everything he had planned for the next chapter of Metro changed in 2020, and more so significantly. Everything we had planned, sorry. A synopsis for the upcoming first-person shooter reads, for a quarter century, the last survivors of nuclear war have been locked in a bitter conflict deep in the metro tunnels beneath the poison city of Moscow. Now the underground factions are unified under one banner, the Novarek, led by the new Führer, the legendary Spartan Hunter. You play as the Stranger, a recluse haunted by violent waking nightmares, forced to undertake a harrowing journey back down to the Metro, a place he swore he would never return to. Artyo. They say you play as the Stranger. It's Artyo, right? Oh, fucking. It's been so long since I played these. In a change from previous entries in the series, the game's protagonist will be fully voiced, which developer 4A Games said will be a notable step toward deeper immersion in Metro's iconic atmospheric storytelling. No specific release date was shared. Didn't they say it is coming out this year, though? Yeah, they said 2026, but no specific date. Anyway, you guys, I'm actually really excited about this because I love Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light. So this is a very exciting announcement for me because I loved both of those games so much, but I really didn't love Metro Exodus, which was the Metro game that was released, what was it, 2020, 2021 at this point? It's been a couple years now, but that was because that game, I appreciate what they did. They took a chance. They did something different, but it was very, not open world, but a lot more open, and it wasn't my playstyle. Metro is a very linear, narrative-driven, first-person, atmospheric, almost horror-like shooter, and trying to make it more of like an open exploration thing really killed the vibe to me. It like really killed everything that made the series special. So I never finished Metro Exodus. I do like to tell myself all the time that I will come back to it, and I hope that is the case. But I have yet to do that. Now, I will say the hype for this announcement definitely made me jump over to Steam and download all 3 Metro games for dirt cheap, because of course it's on sale, even though I have these games already on Xbox, because I'd love to play these games again. I feel like I feel like maybe a Steam Deck replay of these games would be a fun way to play with that new toy. But yeah, Metro is a series I really, really appreciate. I really admire. I played those first 2 games. I've always wanted to play them from when they first came out, but I didn't actually play them until the early Xbox One generation, when they did that not HD, but like that deluxe bundle of the first 2 games together. So anyway, this new game looks awesome. This trailer they showed, very little gameplay, but the atmosphere and the tone is really awesome. And reading some of these developer comments and some other write-ups, they talk about basically returning to form, how they're going back to what made the series kind of what it was, more of the linear progression and storytelling, and going back into the Metro after a game where you made it to the surface and had a more open-ended experience. So I'm very much looking forward to this game. This is a day one buy for me. I know I talked about Stalker a lot in the years leading up to it. I wanted so badly, as a Metro fan, for Stalker to be a game that resonated with me. I will come back and try Stalker again in the future. I have intentions of going back and playing that game, but even though the 2 games are correlated in some way or related and have shared DNA, to me, Metro is just way more the game that's easier for me, because it's just more accessible, it's more mainstream, and I am more of a simplistic first-person shooter kind of guy. So Metro is just a series that speaks to me very much as someone who loves tone and atmosphere and storytelling, but also just loves a good shooter. I think these games are fucking sick, and it'll be very exciting to see how this game is developed in the face of everything that's going on in Ukraine, as Russia continues to be just fucking evil as shit, and the United States government continues to support that evil shit by antagonizing and encouraging the war, rather than actually trying to do anything to stop it, or maybe just stay out of someone else's business if you're not going to do anything productive. But anyway, yes, very cool overall. I'm very excited about this game. Add it to the list of games that I'm very hyped for this year. 2026 is shaping up to be an absolute excellent year, I gotta say. So I'm overwhelmed and inundated with fun games. And honestly, this is a game that definitely, we talked about, I think Dead Captain James wrote in saying, like, I'm not trying to be a hipster, but like, I don't get that hyped about Grand Theft Auto. No, I'll tell you, to be honest, man, this is a perfect example. This is a game that I'm way more excited about than Grand Theft Auto. So I totally feel that, and I will put this at the top of my list, along with like Splatoon Raiders and Fable and stuff. This is a game that I'm very much looking forward to. Alrighty, guys, let's move on. We got this is I don't really know what all to add to this, but PureXbox.com relays that Kiki Wolfkill, who's been with Xbox and more specifically Halo for a really long time, after 28 years, has decided to leave Microsoft, and said that it's a difficult but exhilarating decision that's allowing her to explore new opportunities going forward. Kiki Wolfkill was most recently the head of film and TV at Xbox since late 2022. She had a particular attachment to the Halo series, having served as the executive producer on the TV show, being the studio head of Halo Transmedia and Entertainment from 2015 to 2022. She even was an executive producer on Halo 4 back on the Xbox 360. So, obviously, Kiki Wolfkill is a name that's been around in the Halo space for a long-ass fucking time. I'm not going to act like I'm very familiar with her record, but I know that for the most part, in recent years, she has been attached to Transmedia, which, if I'm being honest, not the biggest fan of how Halo has handled that kind of stuff because, it's kind of weird that Halo 4 is this excellent game that then asks you to like play Spartan Ops and read books to understand further context. And then Halo 5 starts out and kind of assumes you read all these books and then ends on a cliffhanger and then tells you to read more books to figure out what's going on. And then Halo Infinite comes out and feels like there's a game in between Halo 5 and Infinite that's just missing. And they just tell you to go fucking read some books about it. And then they make this Halo TV show that's absolute dog shit. And yes, I never saw season 2, but I hated season 1 so much that I never want to watch season 2. I don't care. And that show was an absolute abomination and a disgrace to the Halo IP. And so, I don't know, man. I just feel like, not to blame this lady or anything, but it's like, you're kind of responsible for, like, a lot of shit I hate surrounding one of my favorite franchises. So for that, it's like, I'm not going to say, like, oh, no, this studio's screwed. However, I understand that these decisions are not made by one sole person in a vacuum and that the downfalls of Halo are not to be blamed on any one individual solely. However, I hope this person finds something good for themselves and that all is well. It's just that this is a person who's been attached to Halo for such a long time that it's kind of crazy to think this name is now no longer tied to Halo. It's different. I never met Kiki Wolfkill, but I've crossed paths. I've run into her on multiple occasions. Weirdly enough, one time at a hotel I used to work at. I guess she was staying there or something because this hotel was in Orlando near the Orange County Convention Center. This was 2019. So this was during Microsoft Ignite. So I remember that she was in the hotel lobby ordering Starbucks and I was like, oh my God, that's Kiki Wolfkill. And she had a name tag on and I was like, hey, that's the Halo lady. And then, I saw her again, I think that same year at the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando because I went to that Halo, what was that even called? That Halo convention expo thing they did. Halo Outpost? Discovery Outpost. And she was there as well. So that was a fun event. So yeah, I've actually, I don't know why I'm mentioning this. It's not like I've ever interacted with her. But I have come across her in person a couple times and be like, hey, that's that Halo lady. That's all I know about her. But other than that, wishing her all the best. I don't have a whole lot of anything to feel or say about Halo anymore. Because I'm just really heartbroken over like how this series has been mismanaged and treated. And I'm just kind of like, I hope next time Halo thing is released that I like it and it is good and it pleasantly surprises me and it makes me want to enjoy the bright spots of Halo again. But right now I feel like me and Halo need to just take a break so that I can learn to miss it a little bit and then maybe be a little more excited when it comes back. So that's why it's like everything with the Halo campaign evolved situation. I'm just like, I don't really give a shit. Hopefully when it comes out, for sure I'll buy it and I'll play it. But I'm hoping that when it comes out, I'll play it and be like, oh yeah, I fucking love Halo. I'm hoping to get that feeling because I've just been so downtrodden and disheartened as a Halo fan for the past couple of years. And yeah, I guess this doesn't help, right? I don't know, man. Let's move on. I don't like to stay on Halo for too long because it's kind of like a dormant, mismanaged, crazy franchise. And until we have a new game to help, convince us otherwise, I just kind of want to let sleeping dogs lie and not just be a hater for the sake of hating, So let's just move on from this. Talking about, let's talk about something that's talking about something that's negative or disheartening and talk about something that is fucking excellent. So here's some good news from VGC relayed that Capcom has announced Pragmata, their new game, has sold more than 1 million copies in its first 2 days on the market, which is excellent for a brand new IP, Japanese IP, unknown quantity. The sci-fi action adventure shooter game was released last Friday and passed the 1 million sales over the weekend. In a statement to the press, Capcom noted that because Pragmata is a new IP, it had to build early interest in the game in a number of ways by ensuring it would have a good start, which came in the form of a demo that came out a couple months ago, and whatever other marketing tactics. They say Pragmata has received widespread critical acclaim with a Metacritic current score of 86, and Steam reviews are currently at overwhelmingly positive, with 97% of reviews marked as positive. So yeah, I mean, we'll get into this when we talk about what I've been playing, but I've been playing a lot of Pragmata, and I will say the game's fucking great. I'm really happy for Capcom, and I'm just happy for like what this signals to the games industry, which is like, hey, motherfucker, you can do new ideas, you can have a new IP, you can have new characters, new settings, new worlds, new synopsis, and you can be successful with it too. You just got to do something interesting and different and new, and you have to stand out. You just can't be, what's that fucking game that just came out, bombed, and then shut down? I'm already forgetting the name of, Wild Hunt or whatever. It's the fucking, from the guys who maybe made Apex Legends, and then you're on the back of a horse. It's like that kind of stuff. It's like you can't make this stuff that is so eye-wateringly like boring and derivative and redundant and be like, all right, we're gonna make it, because people are fucking tired of being fed the same slop. But Capcom comes out and they say, here's an 8-hour single-player linear action adventure third-person shooter game with good characters and a good narrative, and you can buy it for $60 and it's out now and it's awesome. And people flock to it and go, hey, I'll play that shit because I like this stuff. I miss when we have this kind of stuff. We'll get to this more when we get to what I've been playing, but Pragmata is an excellent game, and I'm super happy for Capcom, and I hope this signals to more publishers and developers out there that if you control your fucking budget just right, you can make new ideas, new games, and excite people with new and interesting things other than just sequels and sequels and sequels and sequels. So, cool. All right, let's talk about Xbox reward points. So at the moment, if you want to buy a game on Xbox using your Microsoft reward points, you have to use your reward points to redeem Microsoft gift cards. But now that option that option's staying. But apparently Xbox rewards will also eventually add its own currency or become its own currency. So you'll be able to use your Microsoft reward points to redeem for games on the store, which is being advertised on a US version of the official Xbox website as a coming soon feature. It literally just says, spend points directly on your Xbox. Spending your points has never been easier. On your console, simply choose something you want from the store and use your points to check out. It's almost like Microsoft points in the Xbox 360 again, so that's cool. But it's interesting that they're doing this when like PlayStation just kind of got away from this with PlayStation Stars, and now Xbox is like doubling down their rewards and making it more and more like reward points equal buy free games. So I think that's cool. I look forward to seeing when they actually formally announce this and roll this out to see how it plays, if it's anything different or better. But yeah, I'm glad that they're not moving away from this. If anything, they're doubling down on it, because this is one of the features on Xbox I actually still love and admire. So great. All right. And then let's start to wrap up. We got 2 wrap-ups. The first one here is a confirmation of something we talked about, I want to say a week ago, which is that Xbox has confirmed the rumored limited edition Forza Horizon 6 controller and headset that we talked about a week or 2 ago. Both peripherals will be released on May 19th, the same day the game comes to Xbox and PC. The controller and headset are available for pre-order now. The controller costs $90 and the headset costs $135. This is only the second limited edition headset to be released on the Xbox Series consoles, the first being the one they did for Starfield. So I got to be honest, guys, because I remember very well how cool the Forza Horizon 5 limited edition controller looked with the yellow and the neon pink and stuff. I think this controller and headset are a massive step down in terms of how cool they look. They don't look bad. It's like this pink and blue clash with like little yellow squigglies all over, and it's like this weird crossing juxtaposition of like blue, pink, and yellow with some accents of black and silver. And it's got funky designs and stuff. The headphones have kind of a similar design on the cups, but then on the headband it's white with Horizon written in pink. It's fine. It's like a cherry blossom Japanese pink thing they're going for. Nothing about this controller or headset particularly scream Cars or Japan to me, and I think they just kind of look like generic sloppy skins. You know, it looks like, I don't know, if you're looking through the Call of Duty store and you're just like, these all kind of look like the same dog shit. That's kind of how this looks to me. Not to be negative, I just think that Forza Horizon 5 had a much better limited edition controller, but that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. This is all, if it's something that you think looks good and you want to pick it up, go ahead and do that. This one's not for me, but who gives a shit? There are plenty of other people who would probably be interested in picking up one or both of these products. So there you go. All right, guys, let's wrap up the news this week with our Xbox Game Pass updates. So available now for the month of April, you have Little Rocket Lab, Vampire Crawlers, which we talked about already, and Kiln, both day one Game Pass games. So those are available now for Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. However, coming soon, Aphelion, which is a day one Game Pass game, Trepang 2, which is a game I've been meaning to play. I bought it a while ago. And Heroes of Magic and Might, Olden Era, will all come to Game Pass on April 28th, 29th, and 30th, respectively. Also on the 30th, you get Sledding Games, which is a day one game, and Terra Tech Legion. Lastly, on May 5th, Final Fantasy V comes to Game Pass Premium, PC, and Ultimate. However, in order to get new games, you have to lose some games. So at the end of April, on the 30th, the following games are leaving Game Pass. So give them a try now before they're gone. Those games are Citizen Sleeper, Creature of Ava, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Endless Legends 2, Goat Simulator Remastered, Hunt Showdown 1896, NFL 24, which is through EA Play, but I think NHL 25 is out, or 26 is in Game Pass, and Revenge of a Savage Planet. So make sure you give those games a try before they're gone if you are indeed interested. But with that said, guys, let's take a quick water break because I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about all the games I've been playing. Very excited to talk about that segment with you in just a moment. All right, let's get back to it. Let's start with the games I've been playing this week. But before I can tell you about what I've been playing, I first got to tell you about what it is I've been eating because Chick-fil-A, a restaurant I like more than, I don't know. I used to love Chick-fil-A when I was younger. Then I kind of fell out of love with Chick-fil-A for a long time. Now I'm kind of back into Chick-fil-A as of late. But Chick-fil-A has a new sandwich, which is not only good, but it is excellent. This is a new limited time sandwich. And, you know, all the fast food places, they're always trying to capture you with like the new craze or like the, limited time only, this Cheeto Chester hot fries sandwich at Burger King or whatever the fuck they're doing. But Chick-fil-A have come up with one here that's actually like really damn good, and I'm genuinely sad that it's a limited time thing because this would be my go-to sandwich at Chick-fil-A if this thing stayed on the menu. But I tried the other day. It's called the Jalapeno Ranch Club Chicken Sandwich, and it has, I don't know, you can get it like with the crispy chicken or the spicy chicken, whatever you want, and then it comes with pepper jack cheese, bacon, lettuce, crispy onions, and am I remembering this right? Does it have crispy onions? It has pickled jalapenos on it. This thing's fucking awesome. Oh, and here's the special thing. So the bun is like a ranch herb bun. It's like a different type of Chick-fil-A bun. It has like herbs baked into the bun, and it's really good. And then it comes with a side of this sauce, and the sauce is like a jalapeno ranch. Oh, it's not spicy. It's just really flavorful. Yeah, I'm sorry. No onions. What did I come with that? So it's your crispy chicken, pepper jack cheese, bacon, lettuce, tomato, and pickled jalapenos on a bun that is like a ranch herb infused bun. It is very fucking good. I did not have high hopes for this. I don't know. Chick-fil-A is one of those fast food companies where they so rarely do like different menu items. Like their menu is pretty straightforward. It's like chicken sandwich. Do you want a regular, spicy, or grilled? And it's like there's the chicken sandwich. You can get the deluxe version with lettuce, tomato, and cheese on it. But it's pretty much just chicken sandwiches, chicken tenders, chicken nuggets, chicken sandwiches, whatever. So it's only, every once in a while, I think a couple years ago they did that one where it was like a biscuit bun and then it had like honey and stuff on it. And I thought that one was pretty good too. It had like pimento cheese or something like that on it. That one was decent, but this one is excellent. It's very, very, very delicious. Pickled jalapenos add some nice flavor. It's not a spicy sandwich really at all. I got it with the spicy chicken to add a little bit of kick, but it's really more just flavor than it is spice. I highly, highly recommend this if you're looking for a way to spice it up in the old drive-thru. So yeah, I mean, the Jalapeno Ranch Club chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A, I can't wait to have it again. I told my girlfriend, I was like, I'm actually like craving Chick-fil-A after years and years of not really giving a shit because that sandwich is so good. So that's it for what I've been eating. Highly recommend it. Shout out to Chick-fil-A for doing something cool. And with that said, let's get to what I've been playing. So, all right, two things. Let's talk about the big one first, Pragmata. So Pragmata is the game I've been playing extensively the past week. I got it on Switch 2, just like with Resident Evil Requiem. There's just something about it. I'm in this mode where I'm like kind of not wanting to play Xbox as much. So like I'm like, oh, Japanese game, play it on Switch. Oh, indie game, play it on Steam. Oh, like PC centric game, play it on Steam. Oh, like AAA third person Western developed narrative driven game, whatever, I'll play that on Xbox. Like the new James Bond game, when that James Bond game comes out next month, for sure, that's an Xbox game. That's a sit down on the couch, watch it like a movie, basically. That's an Xbox game. But yeah, Pragmata, I was just like, you know what? I'm so impressed with how well the Switch does what it does that I would love to play this game on the Switch too. And I have no regrets because this game looks and runs wonderfully on the Switch too. It's excellent. And I played half of it while downstairs watching Stranger Things with my girlfriend or while grilling ribs over the weekends. And then I played the other half of it upstairs, plugged into the TV on docked mode with a controller in my hand, and it was awesome. I love the versatility of how you can play it. I love the Switch 2. The Switch 2 is just, it has become like my favorite place to play games as of late. And Pragmata is just such an excellent game. So I played this demo when it came out a couple months ago, and I was like, this is cool. It's novel. It's cool. I like it, but I'm not crazy about it. And then after how much I loved Resident Evil Requiem, I was like, you know what? Pragmata has so much Resident Evil DNA in it. I think I'm going to give it a try anyway because I just really am in a Capcom mood right now after Resident Evil. And I'm really glad I did this because I think for $60, this game is absolutely 100% worth every penny. The campaign's about 8 hours long. If you're just like playing the game straightforward, it's about an 8-hour game. Now, there's a lot to it, like any Capcom game, multiple endings, multiple modes, new game plus, all that stuff. In addition to that, there's plenty of collectibles. There's little ways to explore your levels further and unlock additional things. And then there's all these like training and test modes and unlockables and stuff. There's to purchase with in-game currency. So there's plenty of incentive to go back and play more and more. I'd say if you're trying to play like a complete playthrough, this game's probably about 20 hours long. But if you're just trying to experience the story and get through the game, it's about 8 hours long. Right now where I'm at, I'm going back and doing some stuff at the end, but I have ostensibly beaten the game. I've rolled the credits once, but I'm going back to do something else right now. This game is really, really special. At first I was like, I like this game. It's pretty good. And then as it went on, I just liked it more and more and more. And the first thing I want to give a shout out to about this game isn't even necessarily specific just to this game, because I had the exact same compliment to pay to Resident Evil Requiem, which is like, I'm so grateful to have some new games where the game is awesome, it's short but sweet, and then I wrap it up in under 10 hours and go, boy, that was such a fun game. I actually wouldn't mind just loading up a new save file and going again, as opposed to what we're so used to in games these days, which is like 20, 30, 40, 50 hours in, you're like, by the time the credits roll, you're like, wow, that was a really good game, but like, I'm kind of like, glad it's over. I need a break, I think. Like, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. I can't believe I spent 48 hours on that game, you know? So I just think it's awesome that Capcom still has it in them and is still willing to make games that are video games. You know, like this game, it tries to lean deep into its characters and its writing and its storytelling. It tries to be, a special game from that perspective. But for the most part, this game is not afraid or ashamed to be a gamey-ass game. It's a game where you get guns, and you get upgrades, and you collect things, and you shoot things, and you go through linear levels, and you fight, and you jump, and you platform, and you collect, and you explore, and you progress the levels. It's not trying to be The Last of Us Part 2 and be some cinematic masterpiece. It's not trying to become fucking Cyberpunk and be some super deep, obscenely detailed world for you to get lost and explore. It's just trying to be a really tight, fun, third-person action romp. And then on top of that, it's such a unique game, one you'll never find anything else like, because they made the daring decision to try new combat ideas. I mean, in this game, the dynamic is that you play as this guy Hugh, and he has like fucking space guns. You got like the shotgun version, the grenade launcher version, the pistol version, the assault rifle version, but your weapons on their own are not very effective against the AI creatures you're fighting. So this girl, this Pragmata, this AI girl that is with you in the game, Diana, she's like your sidekick, your buddy you're playing the game with. She rides on your shoulder like Remy the fucking rat from Ratatouille, and she's able to hack the robots you fight to weaken them or expose them or make them easier to fight. So in this game, the combat loop is not just grab a gun and shoot the bad guys. It's in real time, hack these robots while shooting them. And it's this fun combination of like intense action gunplay combat with light puzzle solving, like quick on your feet thinking. And by puzzle solving, I mean like it's literally like you pull up the hacking menu and it's like you use the face buttons to direct like this hacking thing. So for example, it will be like a square lattice pad, and you go left and right, and you just got to like navigate around the red nodes from like point A to point B to attack. And then but while you're doing that on the face buttons, you're using the left analog stick to move your character around and dodge and zip past enemies so that you don't take damage. And then once you're done hacking them, then you can pull out your gun and start popping enemies in their weak spots, and they take infinitely more damage than they would if you didn't hack them. And then to spice it up, there's like all these different like modifier nodes that you can unlock and then customize your loadout with. So it'll be like while you're hacking, you can add like a modifier node that's like if you pass through this node while hacking, this one will increase your damage output, or this one will poison the enemies and cause them to be confused and maybe fight each other, or this one might cause electricity to shock from them and zap other enemies nearby. This one might hack two enemies at the same time. And so what you do is you pull up the hacking menu, and then you use these nodes that you have in your equipment. And it's like, okay, so you hack through the maze, and you're like navigating through the maze, and you try to pass through the nodes that you've unlocked to add those buffs and those modifiers and buffs. And then you hack all the way to the end of like the little maze, and then boom, like everything triggers, and then you can like shoot them. You got like two guys who are down, and this enemy's confused trying to fight this enemy, and you're like blast them in the face, and they're taking excessive damage now because they've all been hacked. And it's a really, really fun gameplay loop. And so you take that combat mechanic with just a variety of weapons. You got grenade launchers, you got laser cannons, you got fucking shotguns and assault rifles and sniper rifles and all the rest. So it's like you get all the fun gameplay variety with this fun puzzly intense combat mechanic twist to it that makes the game so fun. Other than that, the levels are, I love the way this game is set up. There's like this hub you go to, and you can gather your collectibles there. You can upgrade yourself. You can do trial missions. You can do training missions. You can do all these types of little side content things here. And then you ride the tram to the next level, and it's a very, very linear progression. These like linear level after level setups, and each of the levels are all very unique and have different gameplay mechanics. And this game is constantly evolving and adding new, not like overwhelming amounts of new content, but adding new mechanics and twists to the combat formula throughout the entire game to keep it fresh and exciting. And it's so fun. This game is awesome. It's very atmospheric. The music is so like understated. It's so subtle and so like, it's so just kind of like there to help enhance the mood. And it's not really there to be like, oh wow, that's a sick ass song, I'm going to listen to that when I'm driving. It's just really nice, subtle, atmospheric music. And I just really dig the aesthetic and the feel of this game. Essentially, it's about like you're in this, I don't really know what the fuck you are, but you're in this squad or this excavation team or research team of some sort, and you guys are stationed on the moon. And it's this like future where humanity has like colonized the moon to some extent, but the people who are going there are like scientists and researchers and stuff. It's not like everyday people living their lives on the moon. And you find this source, this like, this, I don't know, what do you call like a natural resource called like, what's it called? A filament or something like that. And, luminant, fully luminant, whatever it's called. And it's basically like this resource that can be used to like print anything. It can like copy genetic material and stuff. And so these companies and these researchers are out here on the moon trying to excavate and study and test this amazing discovery. And they're using it to like basically 3D print like everything we have back home in Earth here on the moon. So like they like literally like 3D print this like replica of Manhattan on the moon, and you get to like explore it and stuff. It's crazy shit. And that's basically what these aliens and these these AI and Pragmata creatures are. Is they've been like basically 3D printed to like copy a lot of the psychological and genetic makeup of humanity, but in the form of like some AI robot that can be kind of like built on the fly. And then there's like this whole kind of like platitude, tried and overdone like synopsis of like, oh yeah, the AI goes rogue and starts killing the humans, and then you meet up with this robot girl, and then you guys become friends and you stick together, and she helps you, and you're trying to escape and you try to go back to Earth. And the story's basically like, you know, she learns her more human side by spending time with you, and she softens you and makes you go from someone who doesn't like kids and doesn't trust AI and doesn't like robots and start to see them as more of a human. You guys form this like father-daughter kind of bond together. It's very cute. It's very innocent. It's whatever. And then it evolves as the game goes on and becomes a little more like sad and cute. But anyway, it's a really fun game. It's a really touching game. It doesn't break the mold with its storytelling, but it doesn't need to. At the same time, I still feel like even if it is a little derivative and a little like, oh, I feel like I've seen a thing like this before, I still think the game is told, story, the acting, everything is done in a way where it's still effectively done enough to where it's a really, really good time. Even if it does feel a little familiar or like you've seen a movie like that before, it doesn't take away from the fact that the game still is a really fun time and really touching and sweet in its own way. And while Capcom games are never known for being like amazing stories, I think this is one of the better stories. Now, do I think this game is like the best Capcom game? No, I actually think Resident Evil 9 Requiem is the better game of these new Capcom 3D third-person shooter type games, even though that one's more horror oriented, of course, and resource management, whereas this is more action-y. I still say, I mean, there's obviously a lot of crossover in terms of the kind of audience that would be interested in one of these games. I think Resident Evil is a little better, but I think Pragmata is a game that is 100% equally as worth your time and attention, and it's very unique. And I just really want to support this game because of what it does to just be something new, something different, and add something to gaming that we haven't seen in a while. It's rare that we see the AAA space be a place where new ideas can come and succeed. Usually that's where the AAA space is usually where play it safe kind of comes into play more often than not. So I just really, really love Pragmata. I really respect the hell out of Capcom, and what a great year they're having. I mean, back to back Monster Hunter 3 stories, Resident Evil, this. I mean, they're just on a fucking roll. They're on fire right now, and I'm super happy for them, and I'm super happy for gamers who are getting to enjoy this wonderful output of games right now. But Pragmata is a game I'll definitely dig a lot more into. I've only basically played 8 hours and beaten it once, and I plan on jumping right back in and doing some more. So Pragmata is definitely a game that has my attention right now. The other game slash situation, I'll call it, that I'm playing, well, I downloaded Replaced, which is a game that came out last week. It's in Game Pass. We talked about it a little bit. It's that new game, Sad Cat Studios out of Cyprus, that 2.5D, beautiful lighting, like pixel art game. I downloaded this game on Steam with the intention of playing it on my Steam Deck. And I booted it up, and I played like the first 30 minutes of it, and I like it. I'm interested, and I'm excited to play this game. But the issue I'm having with my Steam Deck that I told you guys about last week, which is that I bought this Steam Deck on Facebook Marketplace from this chick, and then like fucking immediately I realized, oh god, every time you put it to sleep, the audio cuts out and it doesn't work. So this is immediately driving me insane. Like it's such a little thing. All I gotta do is like hard reset down the Steam Deck and then boot it back up to get the audio to work again. But I can't put the device in sleep mode or else the audio doesn't work. So this is driving me nuts. So instead of playing Replaced, I end up reaching out to Steam support. And I'm like, I don't know if there's anything we can do to help with this situation, but like, I'm hoping someone can do something. I'm thinking that they're going to tell me to like, oh, reset the BIOS or whatever. I don't fucking know. But these guys are like, first of all, Steam support, awesome. They're really fast to communicate, and they're very helpful, very genuinely helpful. But for about a day and a half, 2 days. I'm going back and forth with Steam support, and they have so many tricks for me to try to fix this. So like, okay, if that doesn't work, try this. And they keep sending me all these instructions on like, okay, reboot the system, do this, go into this mode, change this setting, try this, go back to this thing, whatever. We go through like a million ways to troubleshoot the issue. And after almost 2 days of doing so, I'm like, I'm so sorry, man. I've tried every single one of these options. Nothing is working for me. Eventually, they just go, all right, man, here's what we're going to do. They send me a label. They're like, ship your Steam Deck to us. We're going to take a look at it, and we're going to fix it ourselves. If we can't fix it, we'll just ship you a new Steam Deck, okay? Assuming you're under warranty. Now, the girl I bought this Steam Deck from, she said she bought it late last year, so it's well under a year. So I'm hoping she's telling the truth and that this thing is under its 1-year warranty still, because if worst case scenario, they can't fix it, they'll just send me a new one. But I don't know if I can believe this person at this point because they sold me the Steam Deck in this condition. So we'll see. Right now, I mean, I wasn't expecting this level of service from Valve with troubleshooting my Steam Deck. I'm already very impressed and appreciative of how great they've been at handling this, especially after the nightmare scenario I had dealing with Samsung Care support a few months ago when I broke my phone. So this has been so far a very pleasant experience. So right now my Steam Deck as we speak is in Texas. It's getting looked at and worked on. So I am without a Steam Deck for the next week, maybe 2. So I've decided, you know what? Replace is a game I really want to play on my Steam Deck. I'm really enjoying Pragmata. I'm just going to take Replace, put it on a shelf for now. When the Steam Deck comes back, assuming it's fixed and everything's Gucci, I'm going to get to that game on Steam Deck. Worst case scenario, I'll just play it on my fucking PC with an Xbox controller. But yeah, Replace looks really good. I really liked the first 30 minutes of it that I played. I was really immediately grabbed by it and like, this game's going to be special. I can feel it. Another game about some like cyberpunk post-apocalyptic AI gone rogue type thing. But anyway, I'm very much looking forward to playing that game when the time comes. For now, I'm just all in on Pragmata and I'm really loving it. So that is it for what I've been playing here on episode 360. Now we will round out the podcast with the final segment, the best segment, the only segment worth ending the show on. It is the comments, the shoutouts from youtube.com. You go on over to YouTube, you click on the latest episode of the Xbox On podcast, you drop a comment. You can be a total asshole, which some of you guys were this week, or you can be a total sweetheart, which some of you guys were this week. And I don't care. I'll read your damn comment. I need your attention, baby girl. So let's kick it off here. One Way Louie writes it and says, right fucking on, Jesse. I call it pseudo-patriotism. Congratulations on making it to 360. I don't remember what I said last week that made you say that, but I appreciate you, bro. Right on. Fuck the government. Steam Deck is cool. I don't remember. But thank you, sir. I appreciate the congratulations. I appreciate the write-in. And I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a great week and that you eat lots of pork ribs. But if you're vegetarian, I hope you don't eat pork ribs. I hope you eat something else that satiates your hunger and satisfies your cravings. Please have a wonderful week, you good sir. Cronky writes in and says, I really don't see the point in going back to platform exclusivity on Xbox. Xbox was failing back in the Xbox One generation, and all those great games were exclusive back then. Now that they have opened the door, the only question is how many people like you are there? How many people will buy the next Xbox knowing that the PlayStation is kind of objectively a smarter choice since it gets everything? If that number is too low, the console goes away. I wish it wasn't the case. I own like 200-300 games on my Xbox library, and I love that platform too. They probably could have maintained like 30 to 50 million users and stayed profitable if they handled things differently. But they made a few choices in the last 6 years or so that drove us down this road. One bright side, I might like Xbox, but I love Microsoft adding another L to their name. Of course, a little sarcasm there at the end. Now, you mentioned that Xbox was failing back in the Xbox One generation, but said that they could have found success if they just maintained their 30 to 50 million users and stayed profitable with exclusive games and doing the old tried and true method. But need I remind you that that is what they had in the Xbox One generation until the very end, is they had a console that sold roughly 50 million units and had great exclusive games and a closed ecosystem. And then at the tail end of the generation, they introduced Game Pass and the rest is history. But I feel like I need to remind you, and it's not to say that you're saying that you feel like Xbox One was a failure, but it's like people talk about Xbox One like Xbox One was a failure. Let's be completely honest about this. Xbox One, if you look at it compared to the overall lifetime sales of console hardware, compared to most of the consoles Nintendo has released throughout history, compared to most of the consoles other manufacturers have put out throughout history, Sega, everyone, really the Xbox One is actually a success of a console. It sold pretty damn well. It had a good attach rate. It had strong support from its adopters throughout the entire generation. It did very well. Yes, it got clobbered in lifetime sales compared to the PlayStation 4. There's no doubt about it. And it underperformed compared to the Xbox 360. There's no doubt about it. But the Xbox One did well. Like, it sold many millions of units. It sold many millions of games. It made lots of money off people buying games on the Xbox storefront and microtransactions and Xbox Live subscriptions and things like that. Xbox One was a success. The only Xbox generation that has been a failure is the current generation. The generation where Xbox constantly shot themselves in the foot by saying, don't buy our games. Subscribe to Game Pass. Don't buy our console. Buy a PlayStation. Don't go away. Where are you going? All of our games are on PlayStation. Our service sucks. Why would you leave? Where are you going? This is the generation where Xbox has fallen off a cliff, selling an anemic 20 million units of the Series S and X combined. This is bad. But I always just want to clarify that Xbox One wasn't a failure. It was just a failure by the means of trying to beat PlayStation. Yeah, they lost to PlayStation, but they succeeded in making a great console with great games that was a profitable model for their fan base. It's just enough was not enough, because as you and I both know, in this fucking world we live in, it's not enough for a company to be successful. If you're not number one, you are a failure. If you made $8 trillion in profit and your neighbor made $9 trillion in profit, you are a fucking weak loser and you suck. And that's the company Microsoft is. That's the kind of business we're dealing with. They made good money on Xbox One, but it wasn't the money PlayStation was making. So Xbox sucks. And now you need to flip the script. And that's just, I guess it's just not good enough to be in second place. Oh, boo-hoo. You only sold 60 million Xbox Ones. Oh, so sad. All right. But yes, I think you're totally right. You can't go back. At this point, people like me are a fucking weird, stupid-ass anomaly. Like, over here, like, oh, man, Xbox is pissing me off, but I'm definitely going to buy their $1,500 stupid PC hybrid thing next year when it comes out. Like, yeah, I understand. I'm an idiot. I'm a special type of idiot. Most people aren't like that. At this point, most people are like, fuck that. I'll play Xbox games on PlayStation. Fuck that. I'll play Xbox games on PC. But, yeah, I mean, I just like to dream about what if, That's all. Dead Captain James writes in and says, damn, Jesse, if I'd known you were looking for a PC handheld, I'd have mailed you a much nicer Steam Deck with 1 terabyte SSD or even my Ally X, LOL. I've moved on to Legion Go 2. That's very kind of you, Mr. Dead Captain James, but oh well, teach your own. You live and learn, whatever. Whatever I'm trying to say. What I want to get at here from your comment is, didn't you just write in like 2-3 months ago about how you changed from the Steam Deck to the Ally X and now you've already moved on to Legion Go? No criticism. I'm actually curious because I've mostly not paid too much attention to the PC handheld gaming market. But as someone who's recently gone much deeper down the rabbit hole because they're interested in Steam Deck, I am curious, in your opinion and in your experience, why the move to Ally X and then the move away from that to the Legion Go 2. I would genuinely like to know why, the Legion Go 2 was a better fit for you than the Ally X. It does seem like the Ally X actually would be the de facto place to go if you're an Xbox player or if you're not necessarily married to Steam but want a PC handheld gaming device. So I'm curious to see why you went the way you went. I'd love to hear more about that. Lazy Afternoon XYZ writes in and says, who cares about Fable? The game will bomb hard. Yeah, we got a couple drive-by comments this past week, but I love this comment because it's like, listen, man, you don't have to like Fable. There's no rule that says you have to like Fable, but to imagine a game like Fable bombing, I don't think so, dude. Fable will financially do fine, especially because it'll be on PC and PlayStation at some point. But I mean, thinking that the game will bomb hard, I hardly think that's possible, but okay. Flash Gordy, our other drive-by commenter, says, what kind of podcast talks about a rumor that has already been debunked days ago? I don't know what the fuck Flash Gordy's talking about, but maybe Flash Gordy and Lazy Afternoon can put their wee-wees together and then they can kiss and find out that Fable is not a rumor. Fable is actually a real game and it's not getting debunked. And also Flash Gordon, I wish you'd flash your Gordy at the Lazy Afternoon and only to find out, oops, Lazy Afternoon is blind, so you flashed them for no reason at all. They can't even appreciate the good you shared with them. I don't know what I'm saying. My mom writes in and says, being gay is not a bad thing, cutie pie. I don't remember getting on my podcast and saying, being gay is a bad thing. But yeah, being gay is not a bad thing. Killing people is wrong. Being nice is a good thing. What are we saying here? What are we trying to say, Mom? You fucking gay. Got it. All right. Our final comment comes from Parksy1972, who says, I totally agree with your comment on handheld devices and their awful ergonomics. The Switch 1, horrible to use in handheld mode. The Switch 2, slightly better, but I went out and got a third-party cover, and now it actually feels way better. Still not perfect. I have the OG ROG Ally X, not the Xbox version. I'm not a millionaire. And that does not feel good either. I've heard that the ROG Xbox Ally actually feels good to hold, but not experienced it for myself. It looks like it feels good in the hands. I would love to know the actual testing phase of these handheld devices. Do they just test them for like 5 minutes and think, yeah, that's good enough? Because of the ergonomics or lack thereof, my PS5 rarely gets used. The Nintendo Pro Pro Controller 2 for Switch is good, but the... I can't tell typo. I can't tell if it's good or gold, but anyway, doesn't matter. But the Xbox controller rules supreme. Much love from the UK, and congrats on 360 episodes. Well, thank you, Parksy. I appreciate the congratulations, and thanks for the write-in. I'll go a step further. Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons suck. They don't feel good. I love them in theory because I love the Wii, and I love keeping that idea alive. But yeah, Switch Joy-Cons don't feel good, especially when connected to the Switch. It's not a great feeling, but Switch 2 is an improvement, and I will say this. The Nintendo Switch 1 and 2 Pro controllers are immaculate. Those controllers are phenomenal. I think those controllers are so good. If I can't have an Xbox controller, give me a Switch 2 Pro controller. There's nothing better out there as far as I'm concerned. But yes, I agree with you that this Xbox controller will always reign supreme. There's nothing like an Xbox controller for sure. But yes, the ergonomic situation on these handhelds, it feels like they're starting to address it. The PlayStation Portal feels great. From what I understand, the ROG Xbox Ally feels great. I have not held one. I actually think the Steam Deck feels pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's much better than a Switch, that's for sure. So like there's some decent ones out there, but yeah, man, I understand we're trying to make these things as flat and portable as possible, but like, as someone who doesn't use these devices for anything other than, oh, I want to play a video game upstairs, but my girlfriend wants me to hang out with her, so I'll take the Switch and go downstairs and play on the couch while she watches TV and we can just be together. Like, to me, like, that's what handheld gaming is all about. So, like, I don't need it to be portable because I ain't taking this shit anywhere. And I feel like that's probably a true thing overall, especially when you look at, like, Steam Deck users, because Switch, I'm sure there's a lot of portability cases with, like, kids bringing them in the car and stuff. But, like, Steam Deck, a device that's pretty niche and sold mostly to, like, hardcore, like, nerdy adult gamers. It's like, how many of these people are playing Steam Deck on the train or at Starbucks? I'm sure most of these people are just using it to, like, lay on their fucking couch or play games in bed or something, you know? So, I don't know, man. I hope we continue to see the ergonomics improve more and more over the years with these kinds of devices, and I think we will. But, yeah, I agree. As it stands now, it's not good. Not very good. But thank you for writing in, and thank you to all of you who listened, wrote in, participated in whatever way. I appreciate it so much. Please leave 5-star reviews on podcast services if you feel so inclined to do so. Share the show, subscribe to the show, like the video on YouTube, whatever you can do to help us. 360 episodes in, I'm still looking for opportunities to get this show to new audiences. So I appreciate each and every one of you, whether it's your first time listening or you've listened to every episode. It just means the world that you took the time for some godforsaken reason to listen to the Xbox On podcast. So 300 episodes in the can, Xbox 360, you're still the one I love. And until next week, you guys be good. Eat that Chick-fil-A sandwich. I'm telling you, it's fucking delicious. And until next week, power your dreams.